Well, hi everyone. Thanks for reading the CBS 19 weather blog. We are starting with a weather impact alert 6 days from now. In fact, we have the weather impact alert set up for Tuesday. And one of the reasons that we have higher confidence that this storm will at least impact us in the form of rain and or thunderstorms is because, quite simply, we can see the storm on the satellite. Water vapor imagery showing you very dry air wrapping into a powerful area of low pressure south of the Aleutian Islands. This is moving to the east. These little areas in purple, those are ice crystals, so there is a lot of vertical development in that storm already over the Pacific. So in the coming days, as it gets closer to the shore, we'll continue to get weather data, computer model guidance will come in. But once that storm gets over the west coast, then weather balloons will be able to be launched into that storm. And so we'll get a more finite look at exactly what will happen in terms of perhaps wind speeds, perhaps wind shear in the storm, and how much moisture is coming along with it. So it's a long way out. We've got some time, but it's at least on the satellite. And anytime you can see a storm on the satellite, you have higher confidence. Sometimes we will see storms, or at least be talking about storms that haven't even formed yet. And in many ways, this storm is going to undergo some changes. I mean, it's not going to look like this in this same intact form as it moves closer to the west coast. It'll undergo some changes. It'll actually become a wave of energy, and then it'll reform into a pretty compact low off the west coast once we get to about Saturday. But eventually it is forecast to move out here into the central and southern plains. You can already see there's plenty of Pacific moisture just kind of streaming into Texas, and of course we'll bring in Gulf moisture eventually when we start turning the winds out of the southeast at the surface. But right now it sets up like it's going to be stormy next week, and we're looking at Tuesday, March 4th. So that storm that I just showed you on the satellite is forecast to be in this location here by Tuesday, all right? So a couple of things to look at. One, this is a trough of low pressure, right? It is almost neutral at this point, but it could become what we call negatively tilted. I like to think of negatively tilted troughs like tires that are spinning, and then you all of a sudden release that energy. If you were spinning forward, that storm would move quicker. But when you're holding back the energy and building up the energy, when you release it, there is more of it. So in this instance here, we're looking at perhaps more energy than what we would have if the storm was just going on by. A couple other things to note here. Notice how the winds aloft are sort of spreading out. So that's called divergence aloft. If winds are diverging aloft, then at the surface, more winds can rush in to replace the winds that are rising and spreading out. So that will lead to a stronger storm system. If we can get more moisture in the storm, that less dense air will be rising, and that could lead to more rotation within supercells or any thunderstorm that can form, and that can lead to large hail and or damaging winds and or tornadoes. So certainly all three are on the table at this point. Severe weather outlook. This is from the Storm Prediction Center. This was released on Wednesday. This is going to change as we go through time. So if you're watching this on Thursday, this might be updated just a little bit. But as of next Tuesday, this encompasses most of Arkansas, the Ark-La-Miss, so Mississippi, Louisiana, and Arkansas, and the Ark-La-Tex, Arkansas, Texas, East Texas, and northwestern Louisiana. So it's a large area. We have seen similar setups like this so far this fall going through the winter. Each and every one of those times, the severe weather just kind of started to ramp up in East Texas, but then really got going when it got into the Ark-La-Miss, the Ark-La-Tex, and into Mississippi. Will this be a similar scenario? Well, at least there is some evidence that it's already happened before, so it could happen again. But a slightly slower storm means that the thunderstorms could form a little farther west and then bring more of East Texas into play. So we'll see exactly how that plays out. But right now, it is possible that most of the activity is going to be centered over southern Arkansas and parts of north or northeastern Louisiana. All right, so let's talk about low-level jet stream winds here. This is important to me because I'm looking at winds at 5,000 feet off the surface of the earth. If that happens, we can take that energy or those wind speeds at that level, and if we can transfer those winds down through just downward momentum of the storm and gravity, then we could be talking about winds that would exceed 65 miles an hour, right? Well, the latest data that came in, at least as of Wednesday, pushed most of the heaviest winds or strongest winds just farther to the east and gave most of East Texas 25 to 35 miles an hour. But again, I'm picking out one snapshot of time at 6 p.m. So you backed it up 3 or 4 hours, and we might find some stronger wind fields over East Texas. Now, what we know we do have in place, or at least forecast in place, we'll have more humidity. We should get temperatures into the 70s, so storm energy, which is important. That's buoyancy in the atmosphere, so the air can rise, and if it's rising, then of course you can have stronger updrafts. The thunderstorms can last longer. They have ability to rotate, right? So you have moderate storm energy in this storm next Tuesday, at least the way it sets up right now. And humidity, clash of either cold air and warm air, or a clash of dry air and moist air. And it's there, but the more humid air is Hemphill, Lufkin, and Center, with just kind of muted humidity through the Tyler and Gilmer area, and then the drier air back to the west. So the defining line here, if it was based just on humidity, it would be Texarkana down to Longview, down to Crockett. But again, this is just one snapshot, but it's to give you an idea of kind of the way the atmosphere is setting up. So it will be humid next Tuesday. We'll have some energy in the atmosphere. The winds may be lacking. So this is a surface map. Predicted surface map. This is going to be the European model. And so what I'm showing you here, and I have the yellow lines on here, these are isobars, or equal lines of barometric pressure. Reason I show you that is because I wanted to give you an idea of where the central or center part of the low pressure system at the surface would be. Many times storm chasers will look at what we call the triple point, where there'd be a warm front, cold front, and the low pressure area coming together. So that would suggest that here in southwest Missouri, or perhaps closer to northeastern Oklahoma and northwestern Arkansas, would be a better place for the storms to form. But there may be some limiting factors there in terms of, one, not as much humidity, two, wind shear may not be as great there, it may not be as warm, so there wouldn't be as much storm energy. The storm energy would be down farther to the south. And of course, the cold front colliding, bringing some of that drier, cooler air into that warmer, more humid air mass. That would be the lift. We need a mechanism of uplift to get thunderstorms to go. And the cold front lifts that air, kind of like a shovel lifts the snow, and once you get the air rising, then it can form into thunderstorms. So that's the way things are setting up, at least as of 3 o'clock next Tuesday, with some stormy weather forecast across the central and southern plains. So here's what we know. We're still 6 days out. Severe weather season is just starting, and it's starting earlier. Some say it's due to our warming climate. We have more humidity, we have warmer temperatures, and so instead of starting severe weather season in mid to late March, we're getting it started in late February and early March. So now's the time to review your severe weather plan. Don't wait until Monday night or Tuesday. Start reviewing it now. It's been a while since we've had a severe weather threat, so it's time to know where to go in case there was a tornado watch issued, because we want you to go to be ready to go to your safe place when a tornado warning is issued. Tornado watch, if you live in a mobile home, you're going to want to get to a safer place of shelter when that watch is issued. And remember, you can stream the latest information on CBS 19 Plus and, of course, the CBS 19 YouTube channel, which we'll be updating several times between now and next Tuesday. Thanks for reading the CBS 19 Weather Blog, and we'll have an update in the coming days.